let's kick this off. Let's talk about all the pro major sports that are going to return. So we'll start with the NHL, which is supposedly going to come back, we think, with 24 teams, and I think go right into the playoffs. I think it's a brilliant idea. They've already had the majority of their season. There's no reason to bring them back and get a bunch of people injured and hurt, possibly have career enders. Expand the playoffs by a few teams and go right into it. What do you think?
Look, how many teams are there in the league total?
I don't know. We'll say 30. Why not? Might be 32.
You start the season, or start the playoffs from wherever it landed and said these teams get to move forward. It saves your season, right? It gets you back going. It gets the fans, what they want. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's great. Obviously they have to see how it turns out, but I think it's a brilliant idea. The NBA, on the other hand, is a bit of a mess. I don't think they're sure what they want to do yet. I've heard they want to do 16 teams. I've heard 20 teams, but then you've got players like Lillard saying, I'm not playing if it doesn't matter. So it's like, okay, but you're 3.5 games out. If there are regular season games, are you just going to stop once you're eliminated?
But he did like some sort of play-in mechanism that gets you in. And I'm pretty sure that the Trailblazers were like 8th in the West or
I think
or
they're
something
9th.
like
I think
that.
they're 3.5 games
So they
out.
were out. So, of course, he's going to like a play-in, right? Because he felt like, we were just peaking. We were just going to be able to get to 8. No, you weren't. And even if you were, sorry, you're out. You're out. Who cares what Dame Lillard thinks? He's not even in the top 10 players right now in the NBA. I said it.
You're all right. Just
look. He still can't even. He can't carry Clyde Drexler's jock.
Hey, don't say nothing bad about Clyde.
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with Clyde the Glide, and he is half the Trailblazer Clyde is. Look, he hasn't earned anything yet. He's hit a couple game-winning shots. He hasn't earned the right to talk. That's what I'm saying. Hasn't earned that right yet. He has as much right as I do, I guess. So that's why we're talking about it.
I think he's a great player, so I'm on the semi-opposite side of that coin. I would agree about Clyde, though. I grew up watching him, as did you. So I will never knock Clyde. So that's not going to happen. But I think Lillard is a fantastic player, probably the best player the Trailblazers have. He might be the best player. No, he's not. Not what no, never mind. I was going to say the best player in the time zone. Then I realized they're in the same time zone as us. So screw that. So, yeah.
We'll
see what they're going to do. Obviously,
but the problem is, and you tell me, you correct me if I'm wrong on the NHL. The NHL and the union there is a lot maybe closer with the owners and the league than the NBA players. And look, I think that Adam Silver and the NBA kind of bend over backwards for the players, right? And so that's why they can't get anything going. And maybe the NHL and the players are a little bit more tighter knit on getting this deal done to move forward.
I think it's interesting you say that, because I think if you go by union strength of the players union, MLB would be far and away number 1. Number 2, it's kind of a toss-up. You've got the NFL and NBA kind of battle for number 2. And then I would say 4th, at the moment anyway, would be the NHL, because those guys just want to play. I don't know if it's because there's more international players and guys from Canada and Russia and Slovakia and God knows where else they're from. And they're just like, I just want to play hockey. And, they're just like, just go out there and let's hit some people. But I think the NHL will figure it out. I think those players really want to play. I think the NBA will figure it out. It might be different from what we're currently hearing. But MLB is a disaster. So there was a plan. Oh, God. You know how much I love baseball. And for those of you that are watching this, I love baseball. Love it. It's not enough words to describe how much I love baseball. I grew up watching it. I've been watching it since I was 3. I've been going to Dodger games since I was 3. I'm a fan. They wanted to do an 82-game season, start the thing in like July, which means they have to get to, second spring training like tomorrow. They wanted to originally do prorated salaries. The players were okay with that. Then they wanted to do a 50-50 split. That obviously got killed, I'm assuming, based on the latest thing. And the latest thing was, a percentage reduction of salaries. And that means the higher your salary is, the more percentage you're off. So the lower player's salary are able to make more, because the league minimum is like only, I hate using that, $563,000. So those guys would make what? $300,000, $400,000, and the guys that are making $30 million like Mike Trout and Kershaw and, that echelon. Well, I guess Mike Trout and Kershaw are in different echelons by performance, but an echelon of payment would make what, 8-9 million? I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head because didn't major in math. But I just don't want to hear the argument between millionaires and billionaires. I just don't. Just get on the.
And then you have Scott Boras who comes out and says, "Don't bail out the owners, players."
God.
Like, and he represents like 70 to 90 players in the MLB right now, so he has to chime in, of course, because if they take a pay cut, he's taking a pay cut and can't pay for a mega yacht or whatever. I mean, look, we've said it before, it's millionaires and billionaires, and if they don't want to play, then fuck them. We'll watch something else, because you know what? College football's coming back. They're already recalling players to schools. There's one of my neighbors. His son plays for Utah. He's going back next week. They're planning on playing. They're going to be playing in front of. Here's some breaking news. They're going to be playing in front of boosters and parents. So maybe 10,000 or so people, and they're going to figure out how to take a 50 to 75,000 seat stadium, spread those people out. College football's coming back. NFL's coming back. MLB needs to get off the shit or get off the pot.
Yep.
And you know what? If they screw this up, it's only going to hurt them. It's going to hurt all of them.
Yeah, well, here's my problem with the whole – well, I mean, I have a lot of problems, but here's my biggest issue at the moment. Hypothetically, let's say we don't have a season this year. The CBA current one expires, I believe, after the 2021 season, and everybody was predicting there was probably going to be a strike.
Right.
Really? So you're going to miss an entire season, have a season, hypothetically, and then go on strike? That's a good look on how to kill a sport. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Look, they're all out for themselves. There's no disputing that. And I feel like there's this upper echelon of player that has a lot of control over all the other guys who aren't making as much money. And they're twisting in the wind. And look, they're all making money. And I'm not disputing that either. But they're hurting their sport. They're hurting the popularity of it. And if they, like I said, if they can't get their heads out of their asses, everybody else, all the other sports are going to pass them by. Mm-hmm. And we don't need to be in the arena, in the stadium. We just need to see it on TV, and they need to figure that all out, and they need to get it done now. Because if the NBA comes back too, then all of a sudden the MLB looks like a bunch of idiots, and they're forgotten.
Yeah,
they'll quickly go into 5th or 6th tier sport very fast if they don't get this done.
Yeah, even MLS I think has a plan where they want to come back and have a tournament or something, because they had played I don't know how many games before this all happened. So great. I mean, you've got European football starting to return. Obviously, the Bundesliga is back, which is Germany. I think the EPL, which is the UK, Britain, is back on June 17th, something like that. I think a lot of college football teams are allowed to get back on campus, like June 8th, depending what happens in the states that they're in, obviously. You've got, I don't know when La Liga comes back, which is Spain. I don't know when Serie A comes back, but I imagine they might be a little later, given that Italy was pretty hard hit. And then
here's a prediction: they don't get back until it's too late. Everybody else is starting, and then it's like, welcome to the party, pal, or just move on.
Was that a Die Hard quote?
It was.
Yeah, I figured. Every fucking episode, I swear to God. Yeah, look, I want them to get this done because, again, avid diehard baseball fan. My fear is that they don't. My fear is that then baseball basically has to disappear and substantially change everything, or it just goes away. I mean, we might see fans just revolt in the sense of like, we're not going to games, we're not watching. The TV money will disappear because if nobody watches, nobody's going to renew that. The ticket money and the stadium from concessions and stuff is like 40% of the owner's revenue or the team's revenue. You take that away, that's going to hurt.
You're looking at an opportunity here. You have fans at home champing at the bit for something, and you're not giving them a product. And no amount of replays of old games is going to do it for them. And you have a generation of fan who's sitting in their home waiting to do something or watch something, and you're not giving them anything. So now all of a sudden, kids who could be potential fans of the sport are now watching other sports. Because the other sports have figured it out.
That's a great point. I mean, you just hit it right on the head. Baseball had an age problem to begin with. Their fans were getting older. They were losing.
Oldest fan base of all the major sports.
Yeah, I agree. So this was a chance for them to capture the dads sitting at home with their kids or the grandparents sitting at home with their grandkids going, hey, we're going to watch this baseball game. If they screw that up, those kids are never going to come back to it. I just fear it, but I can see it coming.
Yeah. It'll come back. You know what? Maybe this is kind of a hard reset that they need. And, salaries are out of control. Ticket prices are out of control. Maybe it's time to reel all this back in, and it's their come to Jesus moment, and they see that they're really not as important as they think they are, and I doubt it. I doubt that that's going to happen because with all the egos out there. But
keep wishing.
Yeah, I think they're slowly showing that they don't give a shit.
Oh, absolutely, they're showing they don't give a shit. I mean, I don't even think it's a question.
Yeah.
I'm just so annoyed and frustrated by it and angry. All right, we got to end on a happy note. So give me something else that's happier, because if I keep thinking about this, I'm going to go crazy. I need something. I'm depressed. Anything. Oh, well, yeah, okay, sorry. You did see that supposedly, according to ESPN, or otherwise known as ESPN, a bunch of minor leaguers have been cut because they're expecting not to have a season. So, I mean, that I feel bad for those guys. I feel bad for the minor leaguers, the guys in single A ball or the Dominican League and stuff like that, where they're just going to be gone because they're the, low guys on the totem pole. I feel awful for them. I don't feel so awful for the guys that are making millions.
I mean, I'm not very familiar with the minors as you are, but do you need a single and a double A? I don't know. I mean, you need triple A because you need to be able to kind of develop guys.
Yeah, but I mean,
do you need the single and double A's of the world?
There's always been an argument.
Let's take the communities out of it. Those communities that support them.
We'll take out the small towns that they're in. We'll remove small towns and the amount of money they bring in and whatever, and the jobs they provide.
Yep.
There's long been trains of thought on certain baseball fans that actually guys in double A might be more ready for the majors than guys in triple A. I don't know why that is. I just know it exists. I've heard it from my dad and my grandfather well before he passed many, many, many moons ago. It's just so many guys on a team that you need to develop, right? I mean, you've got an entire pitching staff, which is 13 guys, 5 starters. I mean, that's not just triple A. In triple A, you might have 2 starters that might be ready. Double A, you might have some relievers that are ready. So you're going to all put everybody that's you think a maximum player. Plus, you don't know who's going to develop. But
that's what I'm saying. It's not a charity. So if you're not, if you're just a guy that's grinding, or a guy who's never going to make it to the majors, maybe this is that moment that you're you're not good enough for the show, man. So go be a banker or go do something else. Because you don't get to extend your summer. You don't get to extend your college years or high school years into hanging out, drinking, and playing baseball. You got to go and get a real job, but you got to go out and get a regular job like all of us, right? Yeah. And maybe this is that moment too. Maybe these teams don't need to exist, and maybe you can expand AAA rosters.
I don't know what they're going to do. I mean,
or can you have an A, B, and a team and a B team that splits a schedule?
I'll be interested to see what, with all the restaurant issues and bar issues in the world where lots of them are closing and probably not coming back, or stores. I'll be interested to see what the major sports do with their minor league affiliates, not just baseball, all of them, the G League. All those teams that all the European football clubs have, where they have their training squads and all their campuses and schools and feeders. It's like, how are they going to support that all? Because I've got to figure that what we're going through is eventually in our lifetime probably going to happen again. It might not be the same virus, but it might be something. So,
yeah. It's unfortunate, but like I said, I think that, I saw an interesting segment on CNBC. They talked about this pandemic as not as a game changer, but as an accelerant, meaning the fact that things that were already dying or changing are just going to change faster, right? We already knew that a lot of companies are doing work from home. I was working from home a couple days a week, and now the executives are comfortable in saying, oh, we can accomplish the same things we accomplished in the office that you're doing at home. Well, look, the younger generation like us is saying, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. But these executives are learning firsthand because they're a part of it. And now they're seeing that, hey, when you're at home, you're not just goofing off, you're working. And so those things are happening at a faster rate. And this pandemic, if you look at let's call it the positive, how we come out better is how I'm going to say it, then this accelerant is canceling some of the things that should have been canceled long ago. If a mom and pop store or a coffee shop on the corner was barely making it, then you know what? Maybe it's time to tell that owner, coffee shop ain't for you, homie. Right? I mean, maybe running that business is not for you. Maybe that small hardware store is not for you. Yeah. And look, I'm a proponent of Main Street all day long. I believe in it. I believe in small business, but I also believe in innovation. And I feel like if you're not innovating, then you're not doing yourself and the community and the economy a service. And so bringing it full circle, AA, single A, G League, developmental leagues, if the money's not there to support them, then they need to go away. But apparently the money is there, because that's why those things exist.
Yeah.
But they're being supported by sponsors. They're not being supported by fans and ticket sales.
Well, not at that level. The majors.
Well, I'm saying like the G League. What is it? Isn't it like sponsored by Gatorade? That's what I'm saying. It's carrying through because of the teams and the sponsors that help it along, right? Like a Nike or whomever.
Yeah, well, it used to be the D League.
Right. So, yeah, I'm not a proponent of people losing their jobs, and I hate it. And I had friends who lost their jobs because of the AFL, and when that shuttered, and that sucks. That sucks. Some of them took chances and left big sports media companies to go work over there. I mean, I consider it a move to one of those type of leagues, and I'm glad that I did it because I got out of a job right now. Yeah. So, I think that it sucks and it's unfortunate, but this is the world we're living in, and dare I say it, the new normal, whatever that ends up becoming. We're getting there, and you have to prepare for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's interesting you mentioned the whole work from home thing, because I'll be interested to see as we come out of this if big companies need as much office space to have people working. Like if people are going to continue to work from home, they don't need that much office space. Number one. Number two, I'll be interested to see how the power grid continues to handle this, because as it gets hotter in most states, obviously people being home full time, meaning ACs or whatever running all the time, I don't think the power grid's built for that. I mean, yeah, they have huge ACs in most office buildings, but you have 200, 300, whatever it is, 100 of people in there. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be worked out. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? We're all in this together, and we're all riding it by the seat of our pants, as it were, right?
Every day it changes, sir.
Exactly. We know we won't be in the office for a while, and I'll just continue that way.